We talked about how difficult it is for any Chinese official to even have a sense of what's going on with the economy. How much harder is that for foreign investors? Because we have seen a tremendous crackdown on foreign consultancy firms in China that try to figure these things out. Basically, China's making economic statistics a state secret.
I think so. If you're talking about those types of firms, I think it's very hard. Okay, especially those operating within China, and there's many reasons for that. Those types of firms, I do think it's absolutely increasingly hard. A lot of, let's say, individual firms that actually sell products or try to manufacture things and export them. I think it's very, very different for those firms for a very simple reason. They get daily updates as to what the Chinese consumer is buying. Okay. They get daily bills that they have to pay. And so even if it isn't necessarily reflective of the broader economy, it's absolutely reflective of their bottom line and where they need to be and the targets they need to be hitting. And so this is why, people talk about the political risk in China. And I don't want to say that there's none. I think every company is aware of that. But, firms operate the world over in countries that have very dangerous political environments. A firm will absolutely stay there if they think there's a good chance they can make a lot of money. And so the outflow of firms are leaving first and foremost, not because of Xi Jinping thought, they're leaving because they can't make money. And I think, Xi Jinping thought is probably the cherry on top that says, you know what, I don't need to deal with this. I'm not making money. It's time to go. But I think the reason you're seeing Chinese or firms leave China is because is a reflection first and foremost of the economy.
So, in the previous 2 decades, it's like, you go into China and you're, McDonald's or, Goldman Sachs or whatever type of company it is. And you just deal with the, having the Communist Party have their party cell inside your company in China.
As long as you're selling Big Macs.
As long as you're selling your Big Macs, right? Is that kind of the mentality? And then it wasn't even really that big a deal.
So I think one thing that has definitely changed a little bit is the influence and control that those cells have. I'll just tell you a time from my time teaching at Peking University. We would always do these student interviews, and I would and you'd be handed the students' transcript and things like that, and you would go down, you would look at their transcript, and it would be like 99 in quantum mechanics and 99 in topology, and just these amazing grades from these classes that I could never fathom taking. Like, wow, these guys are amazing. And then you'd get to their grades, and it would say like, Mao Zedong thought 71, and I'd be like, what? Why are you getting a 99 in topology and quantum mechanics, but a 71 in Mao Zedong thought? And so I didn't really get a good answer from the student we were interviewing, and I was puzzled by this. So I asked one of the Chinese students, and they laughed, and they said, "Here's why. Let me tell you, professor." They said, in most universities in China, there's actually a game. Which student can get the lowest passing score in Communist Party classes? Okay. Which student can get the lowest passing score? Okay. So we need to start from the place that a lot of people don't have a high opinion of these things. Okay. However, they absolutely understand that to get ahead, whether it's as a business, whether it's as an employee, this is what I need to do. And so firms absolutely, and we've seen this in the past couple of years, not only did they have party members, but they're being given increasing amounts of control, not just to say, hey, we're going to have lunch and we're going to study Xi's little red book today, but they're being given managerial control and authority over business decisions. And I think that's where a lot of firms have really gotten worried and said, this is a problem.
It's no longer just lip service. It's something that's actually affecting day-to-day
Yes.
business.
That's correct.
I think the lowest passing score thing is hilarious because it's also indicative of like the mentality of everyone who works in a state-owned company in China or in a communist system, right? Like you do your job at the lowest passing score level.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one other story that just, I think, to me indicates the level of importance that is attached to this stuff. I was talking to a student near graduation time, and I asked him about his job offers. And he said he'd got an offer from J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, a who's who of major international firms. And I was like, great. And he says, I'm probably going to go to work for this Chinese SOE. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, how much are they paying you? And he said, oh, Goldman would pay me 4 times more. And I was like, okay, what am I missing here that this student is going to take a job starting out at the bottom of an SOE rather than take 4 times more to work at a place like Goldman? And he said, Professor, you don't understand. I need to basically be in the system as a party member, as an SOE employee. And they said, I can work for the SOE for 3, 4, 5 years. And then I can go to Goldman and make 10 times, probably 5 times what they're offering me now, and 40 times what I'm offering as an SOE, and do deals. But if I don't have the SOE on my resume, I'm never going to be able to get anything done. So it's kind of like getting my union card to go do deals.
I wonder, though, if that's kind of backfired now.
Let's put it this way. That very well could change where they don't have any option to go to Goldman, or working at Goldman would get them shut out of deals. That's entirely possible today.
Right. But I mean, also the job market is so competitive now. Like youth unemployment is so high. They literally the Communist Party changed how they tracked youth unemployment because it was so embarrassingly high.
And then it still started to get really bad.
Yeah.
Yes, and I can tell you the anecdotes that I've heard from people is that even college educated graduates with degrees that would lend themselves to very good jobs are not getting hired. So it's probably significantly still underreported.
Right. And also, you're not having these bright kids from elite universities, instead of getting jobs, they start businesses, right? Like you're not going to get the the Mark Zuckerbergs or the
foreign companies are pulling out.
Right. Well, no, it's not that. I mean, like if you look at someone like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg, like they're basically college dropouts who had this entrepreneurial spirit, but they're not the only ones. There's a lot of people who right out of college, they get their degrees first, but they start businesses because, they have, a little bit of connection maybe to finance, and they've got great ideas. They're very smart. They know a network of capable people, and they start companies, and then those companies go on to employ them, but also lots of people later on. But we're not seeing so much of these new companies start up, right?
Well, yeah, there's no private sector.
Well, I think not only that, there even when I was there was, in a lot of places like Berkeley, Stanford, the startup competition for seniors or MBA students is one of the most prestigious things you can do. And in China, that was never the case. And I remember very distinctly, and I'm sure it's only gotten worse, but I remember very distinctly, I think it was the Wall Street Journal, and this would have been, 7, 8 years ago. They published a list of millionaires in China under 30 and 40, and that had started their own business, that were self-made, and basically almost all of them had either had not attended college or had not attended an elite college. And what kind of came out, whether the working theory is that if you went to an elite place, PKU, Tsinghua, Renmin, places like that, you did something to become part of the system, part of the mechanics. The people that started businesses did so because they didn't have other options. Okay. they couldn't get into the system. And I think that is probably it's probably a derivative of that in different ways, because there's simply a lot less new business growth in China, and there's a lot less pathway into the system these days than there was before.